Good morning, everyone. I'm Dylan Taylor, passionate space advocate, and I'm here to talk to you today about humanity's future in space, which I think is incredibly exciting. Let me tell you why. First, the definitional term. When we talk about what space is, there's an actual line called the Kármán line that if you cross that, you get your astronaut wings. It's 100 kilometers or 62 miles above the Earth, or about 327,000 feet, roughly 10 times higher than you would fly in a commercial aircraft. So imagine in your mind how many people since the beginning of human civilization have crossed that line. Just imagine what number you believe to be true. It's probably a lot higher than reality. In fact, only 536 people have crossed the Kármán line. 24, believe it or not, only 24 humans have seen the Earth in its totality, and only 12 have walked on the moon. That's compared to roughly 110 billion people who have ever lived since the beginning of human civilization. So it's obviously a very, very, very small number. However, that's about ready to change in a very dramatic way in 2018. Well, why is that the case? This chart is quite complicated, but what I want to focus on is if you look at the far left, we were sending objects to space in the 1980s for $100,000 per pound. So if something weighed 10 pounds, it cost $1 million to get it to orbit. We're headed to a place where getting mass to orbit is only going to be about $100 a pound. And that's due to new technologies that have been developed by a lot of smart ladies and gentlemen, engineers, people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and others. And if you look at the ability to reuse these rockets, it's dramatically lowering the cost. When you think about how we've launched rockets to begin with, it's like flying from Dubai or Denver to Dubai on an Airbus 380, and when you land, actually throwing the aircraft away. That's literally what we've been doing. But just this year in 2017, we were able to demonstrate something truly extraordinary.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Stop.
This is a rocket launch from
SpaceX. Clear the towers.
Cape
GC
Canaveral,
move to section 10.59 to secure the pad.
sending cargo to the International Space Station. But what's extraordinary is what happens next. This is the actual stage 1 rocket coming down to a barge in the ocean and re-landing. Truly extraordinary. Think about this, guys. It's like throwing a knife out of an airplane and having it land in a loaf of bread right side up, exactly the way you planned it. It really is an extraordinary feat of engineering. Just this week, another thing happened that's going to transform space, and that is Blue Origin, the company founded by Jeff Bezos, launched their passenger rocket from West Texas, their last test before flying people. Top is the rocket going up, bottom is the rocket re-landing. On the next slide here, you can see the capsule actually parachuting down in the deserts of West Texas. The bottom picture here is the actual capsule itself. That's going to take somewhere between 6 and 8 passengers to space above the Kármán line, bring them back safely, and they should be able to do that flight multiple times a month. So my prediction is we're going to have more new astronauts created in 2018 than any other year in human history. We might even exceed the 536 in total, depending on how many launches get done. Truly transformational. One other thing, though, that's really fascinating is why send mass to space when you can just transmit ones and zeros? Well, what do I mean by that? This next example is really extraordinary. There's an actual 3D printer on the International Space Station. And so what we did, me and a couple other folks with a company called Made in Space, is we designed this object, which is a gravity meter. And what we ended up doing is literally transmitting a computer program, a object that only existed in a computer, to the International Space Station, and that object was created on the space station with a 3D printer. And you can imagine in a future, metal material, plastic material, printing satellites in space. You can imagine all these things are possible. You can take those materials, you can recycle them, print something else. It's a truly extraordinary world when all you are transmitting are ones and zeros. This video here is actually going to show you this object. This is only about 2 hours after those ones and zeros were transmitted to the International Space Station, and that object was actually printed and manipulated by an astronaut on the International Space Station. Really extraordinary. So the conclusion I want to leave you with, the future of humanity in space is incredibly bright. You can be part of it. There's literally going to be thousands of jobs created in space. So get excited about it. If I can help in any way, please let me know. And just in conclusion, thank you, and ad astra, which means go to the stars.